Welcome back to my channel English Desk. Today, my topic of discussion is William Shakespeare's Sonnet number 73, the title of which goes, "That time of year thou mayst in me behold." As you know, Shakespeare had composed 153 sonnets, and this particular sonnet number 73 is addressed to W.H., the controversial identity of William Henry. And as usual, Shakespeare composed this sonnet with 3 quatrains, 4 lines each, and followed by a couplet. And first of all, I go through the poem, then I will analyze and give you a critical analysis of this poem. So please listen to the poem first. That time of year thou mayst in me behold, when yellow leaves are none, or few do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. Bare ruined quares, where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day, as after sunset fade in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up all in the rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of the youth doth lie, as the death-bed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well which thou must leave alone. This is the poem or the sonnet. Now I come to the substance. Here, the poet speaks sorrowfully to the friend and patron that I have already mentioned as the controversial identity of William Henry, that the crisis through which he is passing has made of him an old man in the midst of his youth. It is as if he has fallen in the autumn of life. Autumn is the seasons of sadness and desolation in nature. The trees become leafless, and the songs of the summer birds become still. This sight of autumnal decay reminds the poet of the ruined monasteries, where once the priests and choir sang and performed the church services. So, from his life too, all music has vanished. Then, varying the imagery, he compares his present state of life to the twilight that comes after the sunset and gradually loses itself in the darkness of the night. A sort of spiritual sunset has thus come upon his life. Lastly, his life may be compared to a dying fire that smoulders in the ashes, for want of fuel that once fed the fire. The fire of his youth now lies in its ashes, and death will soon overtake him. Let his friend ponder all this and love him more. That is the appeal of the poet, which he categorically states in the final couplet of the poem, which is always the essential criteria of all his sonnets. Here, this may be called as one of the most passionate and vivid lyric in which the poet gives expression to his sense of desolation and mood of profound sadness due to some spiritual crisis in the history of the love relationship with his friend and patron. The profound pathos is thrown into relief by three images of rare beauty and suggestiveness. The three images that he categorically stated in three quatrains. In the first place, the poet compares himself to the leafless tree of autumn, the seasons of decay and death in nature. Leaves wither away, turn yellow, and fall off as the west wind blows. Sometimes a solitary leaf hangs on the branches, the last of its clan, and shakes under the cold wind. The songs of the summer birds, which lately made the trees melodious, have been stilled. The autumn trees may be compared to the ruined monasteries that stand exposed to the weather. Their chantries, which once sounded with the songs of the priests and choir boys, being now reduced to silence. Then there is the image of twilight that comes with the sunset. The afterglow of the setting sun gradually becomes dim and gives place to the darkness of night, which covers all things, calling the living beings to sleep, which is a kind of death. And in the third quatrain, he used the imagery as such. There is the image of the unextinguished hearth. The blazing of the fire of the hearth has become dim and unfed by fuels. Only the ashes and sparks remain where there was burning fire. The hearth may be called the deathbed of the fire. Thus, in case of the poet, the song and music, vigor and brightness of youth are gone, and he seems to be lying in the deathbed, as it were. This is the synopsis of the poem and the critical appreciation as well. One thing should be reminded in this connection, that Shakespeare's passionate and earnest appeal to the reader is to go through the poem and grab the actual meaning so that they can be identified with the actual motive and theme of the poem that the poet has expressed. This is the actual synopsis and intention of the poet. So, thank you for being with me, and thanks for watching the video. Hope it will give you an idea of the poem, and again I thanks everyone.